Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Flyer folding cargo electric bike. So let's get into it. Before I get into the walk around, if you are looking to purchase any model offered by Flyer or any of the other e-bikes we feature on this channel, do us a favor and use our link down in the description below before you make your purchase. It's a free and easy way to help support the channel and makes videos like this one possible. We'll also put some links down in the description, our electric bike accessories list, top e-bike brands page, and of course our electric bike discounts code page. So if you're shopping for an electric bike, you might want to check that page out as well. With that, let's get into the walk around of the Flyer folding cargo electric bike. If you aren't familiar with our videos, first off, I will go through all the components, give you a walk around of this electric bike. Then I'll get into some first-person riding footage, talk about how it feels, and then I'll get into some third-person riding footage where I'll give you my concluding thoughts on this electric bike. So first, let's talk price. This bike is priced at $16.99. It is a folding cargo electric bike, as the name implies, and given it is a cargo electric bike, we have some of the awesome accessories that Flyer makes to show off in this video. There's a few reasons that I think this bike is compelling. First off, you have the brand name Flyer, same brand that you know if you grew up with one of those red wagons, Radio Flyer. It's the same company. They've been around for over a century, and so that should give you a lot of confidence buying from the company. In fact, mine actually had a bent front chainring, and the company sent me 3 bike shops here in Florida, and they're able to fix it for me, no problem. So service, as far as being a direct-to-consumer company, is pretty good in my experience. And I also really like the attention to detail, not only with the frame, but also the accessories. In my opinion, Flyer has some of the nicest accessories, cargo accessories, that I've seen on an electric bike. Now, this bike is offered in 4 different colors. Red, as you can see here, had to go with it's a little bit of a different red compared to the Radio Flyer red that we're used to, but I think it looks really sharp. They also offer it in black, white, and green. The bike will fit riders, according to the website, down to 4'11", up to 6'4". I would be a little bit more cautious if you're on the higher end. And one of the cool things about this bike compared to some of the other folding electric bikes is that it is a little bit lighter at 53 pounds. Now, being that this is a cargo electric bike, we'll throw on the screen the specifications for load capacity. One other unique thing I noticed is that all of their bikes are test ridden after assembly. And speaking of assembly, if you're curious how this shows up to your door shipped, check out our live unboxing video. With that, let's get into the specs of this electric bike. Let's first talk about brakes. We have Tektro Aries, name brand, mechanical disc brakes. These are among my favorite that I've tested on any electric bike, and they are paired with 180 millimeter rotors. Now, I do think if they had hydraulic disc brakes, it would make this bike a little bit more compelling, but nonetheless, glad they went with the name brand brakes. For tires, we have CST tires. These are 20 by 2.125 inch tires, definitely set up for street riding, and they are a little bit more narrow, which means that the bike is a little bit more nimble than some of the fat tire folding electric bikes on the market. We have plastic fenders, and we do have some Flyer branding on the front fork. It is a rigid front fork, so no suspension. They went with a bolt-on front axle, which means that if you happen to get a flat, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult than, say, a quick release to change this front tire. But for portability, given that the bike folds, you probably aren't going to be removing the front tire. What I do like is they have a torque arm basically here. You can see that this washer actually has a extra piece here that goes into the frame, and that helps keep the wheel on. And they also have one on the other side as well. That's a touch that I don't often see, especially on a front wheel. Let's jump into the first optional accessory. So basically the bike comes with none of these accessories, but they do offer really cool ways to customize this bike. We have a 4-bolt pattern on the front, which the basket is mounted to, and then you get this really nice insert. It has an area to put a water bottle, actually 2, and it has a nice zipper pocket. So we've actually been putting keys to our bike locks there for safekeeping. And you do have some reflective Flyer branding on the front. Now this basket is compatible with some of their other electric bikes, and I believe they recommend you moving the light up front, so that is also an option. But I decided to just leave it on the handlebar on this bike. Let's talk about the headlight since we're up here. It is adjustable up and down. Now as far as these integrated lights go, they leave a lot to be desired, and daylight's just pretty difficult to see, but actually this one operated pretty well at night. We went for a ride and we were able to see just fine. If you want more light, you can go with an external rechargeable handlebar mounted light if you'd like as well. And I really like those for their flashing modes. I like to talk about the cable management, and I think Flyer did an excellent job. As part of this light mount, they actually have where the cables feed through, and then it comes into one bundle all the way down into the frame. Nice clean look and no issues with turning, even with the front basket attached. This is a folding electric bike, so we have a similar mechanism that we see on a lot of these electric bikes. I'm not going to fold it right now. Stay tuned until the end of the walk around and I'll fold it and put it in our infamous tote. But the release here is you simply pull this up and then pull it towards you, and then the handlebars can go down. And if you're curious, I'll point out what this does when I fold the electric bike. Really think that's a cool feature that some companies might want to imitate. These handlebars are adjustable up and down as we see on many folding electric bikes. But what is nice is you can't actually pull these handlebars up past the minimum insertion point. So it's a nice safety feature in case you're not aware. One unique thing I haven't seen before from an electric bike brand is these markings here. You can see them there as well as up here, and of course on the handlebars. Now sometimes when you're assembling an electric bike, you might not have the handlebars perfectly lined up with the wheel, and so what you can do is when you're tightening everything down, you just line up those lines, and that will get the front tire and handlebars perfectly aligned. I think that is a really cool feature as well. Something small, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Let's jump into the cockpit. So we've actually been riding this bike around quite a bit. So you can see we've installed one of our favorite half-knee bar end mirrors and also our cell phone mount. So kind of ignore those accessories. They are on our electric bike accessories list, but they don't come with the bike. We have these nice ergonomic grips that are locking. Really appreciate that additional touch. And on the right side, we have a right-hand thumb throttle. Now for brake levers, I already talked about the Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes. Now these levers are unbranded, but they feel virtually identical to the actual Tektro ones. In fact, they still have a bell here, and there's a little rubber grip as well for additional comfort. Motor cutoff, so as soon as you hit the brakes, it's going to cut power to the motor. You'll note that there is no shifting over here. This is a single speed, so super simple. Let's jump into the display. So to turn on the display, I'm going to hold the power button. Now, if it is flashing on your screen, that's simply due to the Insta360. So we have pedal assist on the right side, 0 all the way up to 5. We have the Flyer logo in the top left-hand corner, speed front and center. We also have the light indicator. When you hit the light, it tells you that the lights are on. And then we have battery capacity, simply 5 bars. I really like to see percentages, so perhaps that's something that they can improve on over time. And I do find that this display, even in bright sunlight, here we are in Florida, it is easy to read. And on the right side of the display, we do have a USB port so you can charge up your phone if you'd like. Moving down from the handlebars, we have Flyer branding and of course the pivot point where the bike folds. Bottle cage bosses on the top, which is really nice, but also on the bottom, so you could put a bottle cage here and perhaps a folding lock down there. That's really handy and an additional touch. Now they're calling this their folding cargo electric bike, but it does say 860 on the seat tube here. Let's actually jump up to the seat. So we came to Florida and we brought this bike down with us. So we went ahead and swapped out the seat post and the seat. It does come with a fairly basic seat. If you want something more comfortable, this is the setup that I recommend. It's listed on our electric bike accessories list, but we have the SR Sun Tour suspension seat post paired with a Cloud 9 seat. So this is not what you'll receive if you buy this bike. Moving on to the pedals, not surprising, folding pedals. Now, if you're familiar with other folding electric bikes, usually you push the pedal in and it kind of tilts up, but these are a little bit easier in my opinion. It took me a while to figure it out, but you simply pull and then they fold. So nice and easy. They are plastic, but they get the job done. Of course, if you're not planning to fold this electric bike, you could upgrade to something with a little bit wider platform if you'd like, or something with some cool colors to match your electric bike. Before we get to the battery, let's talk about some things at the bottom of the frame. This is the stand that the bike will sit on when the bike is folded. And these cables are internally routed and they come out from the bottom of the bike right here. One highlight of this electric bike is the kickstand, which is really nice, really stable for when you're loading cargo. You don't necessarily want to rely on it when you have children in the rear, but it is plenty stable. You can see even in the grass here. And this is something that I would really like to see other electric bike companies do, is opt for a kickstand like this, because it's just so much easier to use. And of course, it does make folding the electric bike a little bit easier as well. Now, if you're not familiar with a kickstand like this, what you do is you simply put your foot in front of it and just rock the bike forward to get it off the kickstand, and to put it down with your foot and just rock the bike back. Let's talk about the battery. I'm going to lift the seat up a little bit just to have easier access to the battery. It is mounted nicely behind the seat post here, and simply turn the key and lift the battery out. Now, they call this their Flight Speed lithium ion battery. It is a 48 volt, 9.8 amp hour, so basically 10 amp hour battery. It has a battery indicator on the front when you push the button. And what's also really cool, when you're charging this electric bike, it'll give you a status of how far along it is. And one thing I really like about this battery is it has a handle, so it's very easy to securely bring it around. Of course, you don't want to drop it, so it's always nice when a company includes a handle. Now, another really unique thing, while not unique to Flyer, maybe this location is unique to Flyer, but some companies are implementing places to put air tags, and that's what this is here. So with the battery locked in place, someone's not going to be able to easily remove the battery, and you could track your bike with the air tag placed right where the battery goes in. Really cool, and another unique feature of this electric bike. And to put the battery back, simply enter from the top, and there are arrows here. Again, a nice touch just to make it that much easier. Line it up and push it down, and it's locked in place. Jumping to the rear of the bike, a matching Tektro Aries mechanical disc brake. Now, if you're wondering what this is actually a piece that is attached, and it fits the bolt when the bike is folded, so it prevents your bike from getting all scratched up. Again, just a very small touch, but something that I really appreciate that they've done. I already mentioned that this is a single speed, so there's an adjustment here to keep tension on the chain on both sides. And they even include a little piece of rubber just to prevent that from getting caught on anything. Let's talk about some other ways that make this bike a true cargo electric bike. Now, this is set up exactly how we'd want it. You can see we have the black Thule Yepp Maxi seat, so there is a cage in there. While this is an expensive accessory, if you have young children, it's really nice. It works with a lot of different electric bikes, so you can check that out. I'll actually go ahead and remove it so you can see what's underneath here. So I already twisted it, and I can simply lift up, and there's that Thule Yepp Maxi cage right here. That's where it mounts nice and easy. Now we have what I'll call the kid cage. I think Flyer has a better name for it. But what's really nice is it gives a handle for your kid to hold on to. And this kit also comes with a rear pad if you have perhaps a bigger child that is too big for the Thule Yepp Maxi. But then it also comes with these nice pegs that fold. And then you get this really nice accessory to turn this from a kid carrier into a cargo carrier. Say if you're going to go get groceries or something with this electric bike, I'll demonstrate how this goes on. And what's really cool is it can store in the back here as well. It has straps, and you can simply mount it on the rear here when you're not using it. So the idea with this is it's a bag that you can have mounted here at the ready, and there's buttons to attach it to the bike. So there it is installed, a good amount of space for cargo here, and then there's that zipper pocket where everything folds up into when you're not using it, and then the reflective accents, kid and cargo, Flyer in the rear. And so this is a really cool accessory. Now, if you're looking at other options for cargo electric bikes, they have their long tail cargo electric bike, which JT reviewed, and they have some other accessories very similar to this with even more capacity in the rear. And you can just tell that Flyer went the extra mile and came up with some really quality accessories for this bike. Now, if you are taking a passenger in the rear here, they have this really nice guard which prevents anything from getting caught in the spokes. It is made out of plastic. And in the rear, we have a light that's actually integrated into the rear fender, and it does operate as a brake light as well. Let's talk briefly about the motor. This is a 350 watt motor, but I actually find that it feels pretty powerful, especially when you're riding on flat ground. I've had our 3-year-old on the back of this bike and no problems at all. And I think one other reason that it feels zippy is that this folding electric bike is just a little bit lighter than other bikes. And then of course you have the thinner wheels for less rolling resistance as well. This is a single speed 14 teeth in the rear and a giant 52 tooth front chainring. I'll talk about the gearing in our first person riding footage. And you can see they have this really nice chain guard. Time flies, enjoy the ride. Just helps prevent your pants from getting dirty and just offers some additional protection. One thing I failed to mention is that the battery is UL tested. And another thing I wanted to call out, it's more pronounced when the bike is on flat ground, but it would be nice if they had a deflopulator here. I'm not making that word up, but it does keep the wheel straight when it is on its dual kickstand. So that's something that I'd like to see and is something we see on many cargo electric bikes. And since I'm here where you pedal, something that you want to be just mindful of when the kickstand is up and you're actually riding this electric bike, you do want to make sure that your heel isn't going to come in contact with the kickstand. Now, I personally haven't had any issues. I have size 10 shoes, but perhaps someone with bigger feet, it might just be something to be more aware of with your placement on these pedals. All right, with that, let's get into folding this bike and we'll put it in our infamous tote. One of the most compelling things about folding electric bikes is, of course, their portability. So let's fold this bike. First off, I'm going to lower the seat, fold the pedals. I usually like the left crank arm to point slightly forward, and what's nice is on this kickstand you can turn the pedals all the way down, and if you wanted to you could also lower the handlebars. So next I'm going to fold the handlebars, showed that lever earlier. Fold down nicely, and I have this additional mirror, so I'm going to fold that in as well, and then the main folding point right here. I like to use my knee to kind of brace this folding point, and I do have the kickstand still down. You do want to be mindful of the cables inside of the frame here. You don't want those to get pinched when you're folding or unfolding the bike. And bring the front end around. Now keep in mind, I still have the front basket attached. I would probably remove that if I were going to be traveling with it. I wanted to show off that front nut will go right into this piece here. So there's quite a bit of distance that this bike can get even more compact. Another nice touch is there is this rubber strap. It's typically attached to this right here to just keep it out of the way. But then when the bike is folded, the rubber strap attaches right here. Again, it'll be a little bit closer if this front basket wasn't attached. But that keeps the bike really nice and together, especially when you're moving it around. All right, let's see if the bike still fits into our infamous tote. So there you have it. Even with the front basket attached, while it does stick out a little bit here, depending on the accessories that you have, it still fits in the tote. And of course, what's really nice is you can carry your folding electric bike around with 2 people. All right, with that, let's get into some first-person riding footage. I'll talk about the single-speed gearing and of course talk about the motor as well. Let's get into some first-person riding footage. I have the speedometer app by Coolnix, GPS speed to compare it to the display. First test will be throttle only, and just a note, you do not get access to the throttle in pedal assist level 0. So go ahead and change that to pedal assist level 1. This is a class 2 electric bike, top speed of 20 miles per hour, whether you're using the throttle or pedal assist. All right, here we go. Throttle only, 3, 2, 1, throttle. 1, 6, 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19, and the display is reading 20 miles per hour now. And the GPS is showing 19. I'm sure it's 19 point something, but I'm assuming it's very close to the 20 miles per hour. and of course the display was reading 20 miles per hour. So I do get the question, can you pedal an electric bike without power? Now, one thing to note with this bike is that it is a single speed, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I can't shift down to a lower gear. So while I am able to pedal this, being that it is a single speed and with a giant 52 tooth front chainring, I feel like I'm kind of pedaling in slow motion. It's a slower cadence than I would otherwise prefer. So hopefully you don't run out of battery. And of course, hills are going to be a significant challenge, almost impossible if you say ran out of battery or had any issues. All right, let's go in the various pedal assist levels. Now, another thing to think about with the single speeds, at least something that I typically do, is because it is a single speed, I like to use the throttle just to get started because it just takes a little bit longer for the cadence sensor to kick in on a single speed, and of course you're pedaling at a slower cadence. So I'm going to go ahead and go into pedal assist level 1. And there we go, feel the motor, nice and easy, definitely not going to jerk you. And again, it's only a 350 watt motor, but like I said earlier, it feels plenty zippy for a 350 watt motor, likely due to the weight, the narrower tires. Of course, I am a lighter rider as well at around 145 pounds. All right, we're going 8 miles per hour, and I would imagine most people are going to want to go on a higher pedal assist level. I'm pedaling at a slower cadence, though it is a comfortable cadence, but most people are going to want to go a little bit faster. All right, there's pedal assist level 2. Feel a little bit more of the motor power there, going about 10, 11 miles an hour. Cadence slightly faster. But again, I think they did a pretty good job gearing this bike. I personally prefer to be able to provide human power even at the high end. Even if I say use the throttle on the lower end just to get started. All right, let's go ahead and go into pedal assist level 3. Going about 13, 14 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and go into pedal assist level 4 and really feel the power and can hear it a little bit more. But it is quieter given it's a smaller motor. 18 miles an hour. We'll turn. So 17 miles an hour, pedal assist level 4, and of course pedal assist level 5 is going to get us up to that 20 mile per hour mark. Now my cadence is definitely faster given we're hitting the top speed on this bike, but it's not overly so, and of course that's personal preference. I can still provide human power at this speed, and you can see we're going 20 miles per hour. All right, given we are in flat Florida, I will not be able to take this up a hill of any kind. So let's jump into some third-person riding footage, and I'll give you my concluding thoughts on the Flyer folding cargo electric bike. I don't often say this, but the Flyer folding cargo certainly stands out in the myriad of folding e-bikes on the market. Having a rear rack isn't necessarily unique, but most often it's more of an afterthought. Being that cargo is in the name, this is really where this e-bike shines. Not as unwieldy as some long-tail cargo e-bikes, but with its integrated rear rack, it's still capable of hauling 80 pounds. It also is relatively lightweight at 53 pounds, which is a big consideration for some. This is kind of an in-between cargo e-bike that has the bonus of being able to fold. The ability to haul kids and of course other kinds of cargo is the main thing that drew me towards wanting to do this review. After all, I love cargo e-bikes. As we talked about in our Flyer L885 review, the Flyer accessories are extremely well designed, though yes, they do come at an additional cost. I think a lot of other e-bike companies could take some notes from Flyer's excellent execution on the accessories. Now the Flyer isn't what I'd call a budget folding e-bike at $16.99. For the price-conscious buyer, you may want to check out some of our other folding e-bike reviews. But if this e-bike is in your budget, there are a lot of little things that in my opinion add up. Firstly, it's Flyer, a household name in the United States that should give you some confidence. This isn't some new company that is here this year, gone the next. This is an area that doesn't get enough attention and can eliminate lots of headaches should you need parts or on the off chance you have an issue from the get-go. Flyer works with bike shops around the US as well as VeloFix, a mobile bike repair service should you have any issues. Customer support is stateside in Chicago at Flyer HQ, and the team is available during normal business hours. Flyer also offers a 30-day trial period, which is a nice bonus. There are terms, of course, one being that there are less than 10 miles on the odometer. Next, Flyer e-bikes meet numerous safety standards, including a UL certified battery, something that is starting to be discussed more often. I expect this to be a standard on most, if not all, the reputable e-bike brands in the coming years. And lastly, it's all the little things that I noticed. The dual kickstand, battery with nice handle, airtag compartment, folding strap, rear pocket when the front wheel folds in, the rear wheel guards, light integrated into the rear fender, chain guard, 2 sets of bottle cage bosses, rack bungee tie-down locations, and of course, the Thule Yepp Maxi window, which is critical for hauling little ones. The 350-watt motor felt capable where we rode it in flat Florida, even with my 3-year-old on throttle alone. But if you live in a hilly area, you may want to look elsewhere. The battery is slightly below average at 10 amp hours. Flyer says it's good for 20 to 40 plus miles, though if you're traveling at higher speeds with cargo or using the throttle, I'd put my expectations a little lower. 20 to 30 miles seems doable. Components-wise, the single speed works well for where this e-bike is designed to be used, and of course the benefit is simplicity. The mechanical brakes are plenty sufficient, though yes, there are certainly e-bikes with hydraulic disc brakes at this price. The LCD screen is more on the basic side as far as features go, and this is something that I'd like to see improved in the next generation. Things like odometer, battery percentage, trip distance are nice to have features. Overall though, it's hard not to recommend the Flyer Folding Cargo or any Flyer e-bike. If this e-bike meets your needs, then I don't think you can go wrong. And if our videos helped convince you to buy an e-bike, we'd really appreciate it if you use our links down in the description. It's a free and easy way to help support the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.